Today's webinar is interactive. Ask us questions at any time using the Messages panel. To respond to a live poll during the webcast, click here. Your feedback is valuable to us. To enable captions, hover over the CC button. Having technical difficulties? Simply refresh your browser, choose the Help button, or message us. When we're done, please complete our short survey. Your feedback is important to us.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown, Growth Team Lead for Azure Cosmos DB, the database for the era of AI. And I'd like to welcome you to Problem Solved, an at-the-forefront virtual workshop tailored for developers seeking solutions to their everyday challenges. In this one-of-a-kind series, our most trusted partners will unravel the complexities developers encounter, providing actionable insights and expert strategies to overcome common obstacles. Expect dynamic discussions with industry leaders, analyses of real-world coding scenarios, and innovative problem-solving techniques to elevate your development skills to new heights. Get ready to transform your approach to problem-solving.
Hello, everyone. I am João Tadinho, I lead strategy for the Microsoft Core Data Analytics Organization. Welcome to this partner webinar series today with Cellenza. Cellenza is one of our most transversal and most expert Microsoft Cloud partners. They are going to be talking to us about how important it is to guarantee that when we are developing this new cohort of intelligent applications, we guarantee that we are not missing any step. We need to start with envisioning and discover the areas where we can use OpenAI and intelligent applications to make the best for our own employees or for our customers. Then implementation, designing and implementing those applications. And third, doing the change management, because these applications imply change in the way we execute our business processes. So the adoption component of it is very, very important. Well, without further ado, please welcome Cellenza. Have a good webinar.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here and for watching us. So today I'm really excited to be sharing with you this a journey of two amazing companies, one in the media sector and the other one in the law firm. To talk about it, I will be with Mehdi. Maybe in a few words, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Mehdi Kchouck. I'm a technical officer at Cellenza. I work with Yann at the AI Solutions department, and we design and implement solutions related to AI and most recently generative AI.
Thank you, Mehdi. So for me, I'm the Chief Technical Officer at Cellenza, and I have the chance to work with Mehdi on a related topic about AI, but more recently about generative AI. Maybe a few words about Cellenza before starting. So Cellenza, we are a consulting firm specialized in Microsoft technology. We have been created in 2011, so it's been a decade that we are working on IT technologies. To give you an overview about the kind of expertise we have, we support our customers around cloud architecture, data analytics, application security, and today we're going to talk about the AI parts, especially the generative AI. So as recognition, we receive a lot of recognition from Microsoft. More recently, we had the Microsoft Partner of the Year on the Data and AI category. So we are really happy to be sharing with you once again some feedbacks about the generative AI implementation in production. So let's just have a quick summary about what we are going to talk today. So first of all, we are going to talk about how this media company implemented the generative AI solution. And to do so, I'm with Mehdi, as mentioned, that work on that topic, on their design and all the technical challenge. First of all, Mehdi, before starting, I have a question before we deep dive into the technical challenge and see in details what you guys have been doing for this use case. The question is, I know that for years now you have been working on AI and more recently on generative AI topics. So why did you choose this use case? Why specifically this company and this kind of issues that you want to share with us?
Yeah, that's a great question, Yann. I chose this use case basically because the most common, I would say, application of generative AI recently is chatbots. So I wanted to go over something a little bit more, I would say, exotic, but keeping the fact that we want to cover. We want to cover the most important challenges when implementing AI generative AI solutions, which are responsiveness, scalability, and the prompt engineering phase.
Okay. And just for people to maybe understand what you mean by, response time, I think it's clear, scalability is clear, but what do you mean by prompt engineering? I think it's a topic related to generative AI. Is that correct?
It's basically the trial and error approach where where we write down the instruction that we want to give to the model, get its feedback, and iterate over it to refine the feedback or the response of the model. So it's basically the trial and error process of most of the AI models, but in the context of generative AI, we call it prompt engineering because we are working on prompts that we are giving to the model.
Okay. So before we go deep dive into the technical challenges, maybe to tell us what was the context, the business context, and the functional items that we can rely on before seeing the technical parts.
First of all, the application that we implemented is called the Dispatch Preparation Assistant, and basically it's the dispatches are small bits of articles that are written by press agencies and that are relayed by newspapers. The problem is that, so first of all, why newspapers need to relay those articles? It's very simple. It's because of traffic and visibility. Those dispatches are basically a way to gain traffic on the website of the newspaper and give give reliability for that newspaper. The issue is that those dispatches are always the same, that are since they come from the same agencies, but they are related to the different newspapers. The editors in those newspapers spend a lot of time rewriting those dispatches to make sure that they respect the newspaper's standards, guidelines, and formatting style. They also need to enrich them with relevant images, tags, and related articles if someone wants to go deeper in the subject. So again, the journalists tend to spend a lot of time rewriting those dispatches, whereas they can spend that time in more creative ways.
So if I understand correctly, I think because I'm not a media expert, the difference between a dispatch and an article is, I can say a dispatch is like the smallest information that comes from the agency, and then based on that information, they write a bit more content around the article to maybe have more context. Is that correct?
Yeah, totally. So basically, the dispatch is the basis of an article. So they are really the small parts of the article that needs to be relayed rapidly and fast. In most cases, for events that are happening very fast, or like emergencies, for example. And the role of the newspaper is not to change the content of the dispatch because it's just facts, but rather reformatting them and putting their style on it.
Okay. Yes, got you. Okay, so I think that's yes, of course, it's a bit challenging because you might have like some volume issues or other technical challenge to process those incoming information. Can you maybe tell us, what was at the time the top challenge you faced?
Before going into the challenges, so the main important part here is the volume of data we are working with. So we process 2 million articles in total for the recommendation part. We handle 3,000 published articles per month. The newspaper works with around 20 dispatches to publish per day, knowing the fact that they have a much more to cover during the day, but they only covered 20. And a dispatch is more or less 1 to 2 pages long. And finally, the number of images per day is quite impressive, which is 6,000 images per day. So when you do a recommendation over an image, you as a human, you cannot go through all those images and the best images to like associate the appropriate one. So having an assistant here that gives you recommendations is quite helpful. So basically, the main problem that are facing editors here is that not all daily dispatches are processed, since there is a lot of volume here.
Okay, and before the implementation of this assistant, they were doing all of it manually?
Yeah, exactly, and it takes around, depending on the size of the dispatch, it takes around 10 to 30 minutes of manual labor.
If I understand correctly, the main impact or the main issues for them was to process this huge volume of data that was coming from different at different speed or from different location, and you have to maybe to help them with this kind of assistant to try to increase the processing level of the data. But did you have like some quantitative or some clear objective to for this kind of use case?
Yeah, totally. So our main objectives for the assistant here is to rapidly incorporate the newspaper's guidelines and style, as well as include the recommendations of articles, images, and tags, so that the editor and the journalist gets to have a draft of the prepared dispatch with all the information required to go over it and either validate it and publish it, or refine it a bit.
Okay. So if I try to rephrase it so I can understand better the goals here, the automation, I can handle it because you have like a huge volume of data. So you put in place some kind of, and we will see that kind of tools to automate the processing of incoming dispatch. When you say that you have to incorporate the writing style, the guidelines, etc., I think it's kind of to guarantee the quality of the preparation. Is that correct?
Exactly. So when we say incorporate the style and guidelines, it's basically trying to put together an appropriate prompt for the model that takes into account all those different rules of the newspaper to reformat the dispatch to the appropriate standards of the newspaper.
Okay, but you confirm at the end it's the journalist that validates that, okay, this is going to be published, or maybe you can make some quick updates and then publish, right?
It's your assistant. It really empowers the journalist and the editor. The final word is really regarding the final word is really of the editor or the journalist.
Okay. Do you have like an estimation of the value that they are expecting from this assistant? Because I can see clearly the kind of help it's going to bring to people, but I don't know if you have work on that, have like, okay, we're going to gain this and this?
Yeah. So our target with this assistant was to mainly reduce the preparation time of a dispatch. Given that the average preparation, it takes between 10 to 30 minutes, we aim to reduce it by at least half, since we want to process every dispatch that is being captured in our system, and process it as close as a real time process can be. All right, and then by doing so, we can free up a lot of time for the journalists to tackle more creative tasks and more, at least as I understood from them, more fun tasks.
So that means that because yes, when you say to work on more creative task, that means that when they receive a dispatch, they don't have like the area of they cannot be more creative than the dispatch itself. So they have to respect the information and not to add more, but just to to be to stick to the facts, right?
Totally, they really need to stick to the fact. They cannot add a lot of context when regarding the dispatch, but once they move to an article, they have a lot more playground and ways of doing things. So they need to keep the fact as well, but they can give a lot more context and much more like readability for the full article.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing details. You guys have been doing it, and what technical solution did you put in place? But maybe we can talk about the journey, and by journey I mean the approach you guys put in place to start from the context, the challenges, the issues that you just mentioned, and to the final solution. I don't know if you have like some advice about how do you start, how do you tackle the problem, and etc.
So we have a good methodology at Cellenza that I wanted to present here, which we can break down into three components. So find value, bring value, and keep value. And for the first part, the most important thing here is to really try to identify the area of the business where we can have quick wins, so we get a lot of value with low effort, and that's how we build a first version or our MVP. And based on that MVP, we can decide to go for the build phase or not. Moving to the second part, using that MVP, we can leverage. So here we leverage the Azure cloud provider, and we can really go for a production ready solution. And by production ready, we will go through the deployment of a landing zone, an AI platform, as well as a data platform, and combining all those components, we get a highly secure environment with standard governance rules, as well as a scalability potential of the platform. And finally, for the last phase, we make sure that everything is running smoothly. We make sure that we are monitoring the costs and the use of the application.
Okay. Yeah, it's very like a kind of three-step approach, where the first step is to quickly identify the as you mentioned, the quick win or the most valuable products that you are going to build, and then you iterate over it on the build phase, and then the last step, if I understand correctly, you make sure that everything's under control and is going the way it's expected. Maybe you can talk a bit more about okay, how do you apply this kind of approach technically?
Totally. So before going through the actual architecture or solution that we did, I wanted also to give you an overview of the services that we used. for this solution. Especially what helped us really accelerate the prototyping phase. So those kinds of applications, we generally need at least 4 components. So the LLMs for the generation model, the embeddings model for similarity and representation of text, the vector database where we will save and search through the embeddings, and finally the actual database that we will be using to store our data and metadata. And for us, we used Azure OpenAI as our platform to deploy LLMs. We used as well Azure OpenAI for the embedding models. We used Azure AI Search for the vector database, and finally Azure Cosmos DB for the database part.
Yeah, maybe a quick question, because I can see a bunch of services here that are maybe available on Azure, so the Microsoft Cloud. How can I say it's the choice of Azure OpenAI and the AI services and maybe the Cosmos DB is because you if I can say, what was the reason for you to maybe choose the Azure OpenAI solution or the Cosmos DB?
Totally. So first of all, having all your services on the same provider helps you keep track of your usage, your usage, your cost, your governance, your security in a unified manner. So first of all, that helps a lot by having everything on the same provider. Second of all, for if I take Cosmos DB for instance, we used it because it's a highly scalable database. As I said earlier, one of our main problems was to handle the large amount of data we are processing daily. We process around 12,000 events in a day, and those events include the publications or the modifications of article dispatches, images, and tags. The second issue that we had to tackle is the fact that we had a single event distribution queue from the provider, and that was a constraint from the provider by itself. So we needed to find a way to subscribe to it, but not affect the other clients of that provider. So we really needed to make sure that our solution is very low on latency. The third issue was to as I said earlier, to incorporate and to translate those 50 or over 50 styling rules and guidelines from the newspaper into our prompt to make sure the preparation is adequate. And finally, something very important as well, to be sure that the solution is cost effective.
Okay, so I think I get it now, because at the beginning you mentioned that the response time, the scalability, and the prompt engineering. So if I got you correctly, that means that the fact that you use the Microsoft Azure Cloud and especially the scalability of Azure Cosmos DB, for instance, to handle the high volume of data that you are processing daily, helped a lot, and also because you have this kind of governance or tools that help you by design into the cloud to control what's going on over there. That's what kind of make you choose this kind of services, right?
Totally. The fact that either Cosmos DB or Azure Search is that scalable helped us a lot in our choice, as well as the unified way of governance regarding all the services that we are using was was really determinant for us to choose those services.
Okay, so maybe I don't know if you have like some technical architecture that you can share with us, so we can see in details. Maybe how does different pieces fit together, and how do you ingest this volume, for instance?
I wanted to give you a brief overview of the architecture that we implemented, a more simplified one. So first of all, you'll notice that AI application is running on Azure cloud. Whereas the data provider is hosted on another cloud. So first of all, we needed to find a way to make sure that our environment is properly secured, in the sense that we are able to get securely the events daily, but the traffic that is coming out is in a one-way direction. If I go through some of those components, first of all, we used Azure functions for getting the events from the data provider, and this helped us leverage the fact that Azure functions are highly scalable. In the sense that they can scale horizontally very quick if we get a peak of charge, and scale down as quick if we have a lower charge. For instance, this behavior we saw it a lot when with the image provider, where it provided us with like 1,000 or 2,000 images at once, and then went through the rest slower.
Yes, just maybe a quick question here. I understand that those services or those function help you to scale out or to scale up. But how do you handle like this? You said previously that you were ingesting like 12,000 events. How do you control the pressure of the data, of the coming data?
Totally. So this phase is called the load leveling phase, where we ingest. So all those events that we are getting will queue them up in an Azure queue, and process those events in a frequency that is good for us, right? So if we are able to process 10 or 20 events at a time, we can do that by simply putting them in a queue and getting them from that queue in really the frequency that we want. And additionally, once we collect those events and start processing them, we need to store them as well as their metadata in our database, and that's where Cosmos DB came in handy, because it really allowed us to store all those data without connection loss.
Okay, so you control the pressure, the all the traffic, incoming traffic. You control it by queuing item, and then you you pop the item at the frequency that you're able to process them, and because of the scalability of like kind of Cosmos DB for the storage or the serverless, the Azure function part, you're able to handle all those events that are just to remind people, it's 12 events daily. Okay. Yeah.
12,000, yes.
12,000, sorry. 12,000, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Otherwise, it would be much simpler.
Yes, to do so. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yes, got it. Interesting, impressive. Okay. One question, it's not technical question, but when I know that when it comes to AI, many people just or business people, they say, oh, maybe I will be replaced by an assistant or by a copilot or by a tool. So they are not willing to help building this kind of solution. how do you deal with this kind of issues or context?
This adoption problem is quite common. So, for instance, in our case, we for example didn't use the terminology generate, but rather prepare dispatch, so that the news editor understand that the assistant creates drafts and not the actual final the final dispatches. So the last so the newspaper the news editor will get a dispatch prepared by the assistant, and they need to like review it and approve it to be able to be published. It really helps the journalist by empowering them for and thus liberating more time for their creativity.
Okay, so that means that yes, you worked on the way you present the topic to the journalist. So you choose, as you mentioned, you choose carefully the terms that you when you talk to them, and then also I think you include them into the process of the change.
Totally. So as well, yes, that's a good point, because the journalists were embarked in the refinement process of the guidelines and the style and the styling that is basically used for writing the best prompt possible to prepare the best dispatches, and they know that if the styling and the guidelines are not reviewed by them, we will never get the appropriate preparations.
Very good. Mehdi, maybe yes, I can see that time is fine, but I don't know if you want to share with us, like some takeaways. I know that you have been doing this project for a few months now. Today, maybe you have like a vision to backward vision on what you have done at the time. Yes, maybe you can some takeaways on this topic.
As I said, that's one of the main issues that we face a lot in AI applications in general is the volumetry of the volume of the data. So that's something we need to keep in mind. But another issue is and this is more specific for generative AI applications, is the prompt engineering phase, and we really struggled when iterating over the prompts, and after a couple of months, we found out that there is a tool, there is a new tool that is being released, which is called Prompt Flow. At the time, we could have used it for a much smoother prompt engineering phase. The other thing is that since this domain is evolving extremely fast, we also had new integration in Azure of LLMs, so we could have also used Mistral and Claude models. And finally, to close up, I want to show you the final playground that the journalists are using, since they have two types of integrations of this app. So this is the playground for fine tuning the prompts and for trying different temperature and different settings of the model. So here you get the prompt on the left side, the dispatch on the middle, and on the bottom the result, so the preparation.
So this is the space where, just to understand, this is the kind of the playground where the journalists, they play with the prompt, with the guidelines, the rules, and they see the results, and they can validate it to be integrated into the platform. Is that correct?
Totally. So this is the first step, and the second step is actual. So the second integration of the solution is in their CMS directly. And the for the recommendation part, so here you just put your dispatch in the upper corner, and you get the 3 types of recommendations. So the tags recommendations, the articles, and the images, to validate your model and your settings.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mehdi, for this presentation. I think very, very helpful and very insightful, because we have seen with you some, challenges that people are facing out there around generative AI, and some you talk about the response time. You talked about maybe the scalability issues, because we know we have some limitation. You've talked about also how the clouds helped you bringing this kind of products fast to the production and fast to the end users, the journalists. So and also thank you for showing us some demo or some pictures of the demo. So I think it's helped us to envision what we can do with this kind of solution. Thank you again, Mehdi, for that.
Perfect. So thank you for assisting for my first for the first part of this presentation. Now I'll let Yann go through the second use case.
Yes. So for this second use cases, we change completely the business domain, and we talk about the journey of a law firm that's use generative AI to improve the daily tasks. So the question is why we choose these use cases, and why we this company decide to use generative AI to help on daily tasks. If you look at the main purpose of generative AI and large language models, it's the kind of AI that's mainly based on text. It's some model that's been trained on bunch of text or bunch of contents that have been downloaded from internet, and then this model is capable of generated content. And if you look at how the world of legal or the law firm worked, they daily use a bunch of text. It can be articles, it can be contracts, it can be whatever you want, but it's mainly text content. So they decide that maybe we can try to fit these two concepts together and try to see if there is some opportunity of improvement with a strong return over investments. So that means that in simple words, how we can process contract, how we can maybe analyze it, how we can generate contracts using generative AI to maybe better understand what kind of improvement we can make with that. Let me just first starting with the first solution we released is the contract analysis. They wanted 3 key features. The first one is to be able, when you receive a contract, to say, what are the clause or what are the terms and conditions in that contract? So to extract all the key information from the contract. The second feature was to be able, based on the list of the terms and conditions, to say which of them was maybe conflictual or maybe can cause a problem to the company, just to quickly highlight this kind of clause. And the last one is to be able to score the contract. So let's say I receive a contract from my partner and for instance Microsoft, and I would just want to make sure that the contract is green for signing. So this is like the third feature they want it in the application. Handle or to tackle these issues, we have different challenges. The first one is to make sure that we have the lists of all the terms and conditions that have been extracted from the contract. We cannot miss one. We have to make sure that we have extracted every terms and condition, or all item that might be potentially conflictual. And the last challenge is when we say scoring the contract, saying it's a green, yellow, or red contract, we need to have this metric. We have to build a metric that say, this is green, or this is a red contract. So this is kind of challenges we have faced. And for the second solution about contract generation, it's tomorrow I want to sign a contract with Microsoft. I want you maybe to say in which context. For instance, for us, it's a technology partnership. So we want to define the terms and condition of that partnership. So we will have a contract, and then we have to say what clause and what terms and condition we want to put inside that contract. So this is also a challenge because we have to make sure that we have put in there every terms and condition that protect both sides, or the sides that used the contract generation features. This is the first features. The second one is, okay, I identify all the terms or all the clause I want to put into the contract. So the next step is saying what is the content of each clause or each terms in that contract. So we cannot just rely on GPT models to generate it for us. Maybe we have some standards inside the company to make sure that, okay, we absolutely need this kind of content. So this also was to a kind of a challenge because you have to, when it comes to law or to legal domain, you have to take the law as a framework. So you have to reference every text that you put inside a contract to say, oh, this text is related to this law article and etc. So it's kind of grounding topics when we come to generative AI. And last but not the least is how we can make sure that we can respect the interest of the one who's generating the contract. So we back again at this, how we build a metric for this.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, Yann, the main issues here, or the main areas of improvements, are really exhaustivity of the terms that we're adding into our contract, and as well as the references.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. It's we cannot afford to miss a clause or to miss a terms and condition inside a contract, because it can be dangerous for a company. So we have to make sure we get the completeness of every clause or terms and condition inside the contract. And the grounding, the references, is related to because we are working into a domain, as I was saying, that has a strong framework. It's the law. So you have to respect the law. You have to make sure that everything that you put inside a contract is related to this framework. So you have to compare each generation with this framework and see if you're still inside and not signed, something that is not relevant to customers.
Right. Okay, perfect. And so what was your approach for dealing with all of that?
I think that we are really close with what you have done, guys. We first of all, we try to build what we call building an AI confidence, because what we are seeing now is people can be afraid of using this kind of solution because they're saying, "Oh, I'm going to be replaced by someone or by a tool." So first step here is to make sure that we have this confidence of AI. For that, we worked with the experts, the lawyer, to select the subset of contracts in which the AI are going to learn. And then based on this contracts, we extract, this is step 2, we extract relevant information, insights from this. It can be the context, maybe it's a contract in the private equity domain, maybe it's a contract in the IT, the technology domain, etc. We extract the clause, the terms and condition, etc., etc. But we are building confidence by taking data from human validated data. So this helped build that confidence of AI. And the last step was, okay, I have this relevant information from the contract. We have to build what we call a knowledge graph. It's kind of structure, a network structure, where we try to store the link between different items. For instance, saying in that context, we have this kind of terms, or we have this kind of clause, etc., etc. So we build that knowledge graph that will help us to tackle the issues of the second application, which is to generate the content. So that means that to generate the content, it's become easier because we just have to go through that network, of content. And then we, based on that content, we can select the subset of network that is relevant to that context and to generate, the different items we want. So to select the best clause, to select the best terms and condition, etc., etc.
So, if I understand you correctly, Yann, the graph phase is extremely important to get the correct information, right?
Yes, because we don't have the time to tackle the problem here, but when we talk about the RAG, the retrieval augmented generation, for instance, the problem with that is we just naively go through documents and take some pieces of documents to generate a reply. But we miss something. We miss the connection between the different items inside the documents. So when we use this kind of network, the knowledge graph network, what we are doing here, we are building the connection between items inside the documents. So we can say that an item in the page 1 is linked to an item in the last page because we have that network structure that allows us to do that. So yes, it's the main component for the solution.
And so you really need to have a great technical service or library to help you do that.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because this was conceptual, and then we have to put it practical. So we have to build the solution. To give you an highlight of the solution, so let's take an example here of implementation. So we can see that just in terms of concept, we start from the contract, and from the contract we extract this table, or what we call the insight tables, and we try to create this kind of linked or connection between two nodes. So a node can be a clause, it can be the context, such as the private equity, for instance, and the edge is the context of the connection. So, and then we build that table that will allows us to represent or to create that knowledge graph. So this is like the concept, and then we have to select different components, technical components, to be able to implement this solution. And talking about technical solution, we choose to work on Azure and to use Azure OpenAI for the insight table building to extract the insights from the documents, and then to store it into a knowledge databases, such as Cosmos DB, for instance, that supports the Graph API.
I see you have two different implementation of Cosmos DB here. Can you tell us why?
Oh yes, we spend a lot of time, trying to select what should be the good storage of this this model. We of course think about Neo4j, which is a graph database by design, but as the solution should be used by human in a chatbot base. I know that you didn't like, or you mentioned that you're sick of AI solution based only on chatbot, but they wanted to access or to use the solution using a chatbot approach. So that means that they want to say, oh, generate me a contract in that context, etc. So we need a storage that can be, at the time allows us to store the all the conversation, the interaction with the users, but at the time allows us to store that network information. And hopefully for us, Cosmos DB has this, supports different type of interface, of storage interface. So there are the Graph API, the Gremlin API, and the SQL one. So we use it because it was like all in one.
All right, understood. Yeah.
So maybe to end up here, just to give you an highlight or an example of what the tool looks like. Here you can see an example of contract being generated by the AI, and what we have done here, you can see in red the item of the contract that had being generated by the model, and here it replaces the company name by Microsoft, and it introduces a second article, sorry guys, it's in French, second article, which is the duration of the contract, and it rephrased completely the contract. So this is an example of what AI can do. And if we are okay with that generation, we can just download the contract and it will be a Word document. And we test it in different area, and for now it's working perfectly. So we're quite happy with that. It's gonna be all for me. Maybe to give you some takeaways and challenging that we have been facing on that topic. I think the first one is when it comes to generative AI and to AI in general. We need to have like this deterministic approach. That means that if you send twice a query, you would expect to have the same results. Okay, so with generative AI, it's a bit complicated because you can send the same query twice and you will have two different, even if it's slight difference, but it's two different results. And when it comes to legal domain, you cannot afford to generate a different version of contract based on the same context. So you have to guarantee the kind of deterministic approach. So this was one of the biggest challenge we're facing. The second one is, as I would mention, the AI confidence. You have to make sure that you onboard the key people. And by key people, I mean the business people. So that for our case, it was lawyer. You have to make sure that lawyer perceive the solution as an assistant, as a copilot, but not as something or some solution that is going to replace the job of the end user. So yeah, building the AI confidence helps us a lot of ease the adoption of the solution. The third item is when it comes to AI, we have to assess, to evaluate the solution over time to make sure that, okay, we still have some relevant results, we still have some good results, etc. So what we learned from that is you have to build it earlier in the design phase to make sure what kind of metrics or what kind of evaluation system you want to put in place. So that means that you have to collect as soon as possible feedback from the end users. It's the last item. So you have to put in place some tools to say, okay, this is the tool for generating the contract, guys. Please play with it and give us some feedback. And based on that, you're going to collect and try to improve, to iterate as much as you need to to have like the solution that is close to 100% correct. And also the last item I think is, you have to try your best to make sure that you always explain where comes the results. You have to say to people, this result has been generated because I've been inspired by this document, and this. It's very important. We were talking about the grounding is it's a key item, and mostly and especially into the domain of legal or the law. You have to make sure that all references has been mentioned into the reply. So this is my like 5 takeaways item I want to share with you guys.
That's a great way to end the presentation, Yann. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you're interested, guys, in maybe seeing a demo, because we don't have time to share with you a demo, don't hesitate to contact us. We'd be happy to be sharing with you some content and to show you some assets we have developed around this topic, but also many more. Now it's time for question, guys. So if you have question about what we have just presented with Mehdi about the first or the second topic or AI in general, please don't hesitate and ask us in the chat, and we'll be glad to answer.